Nation.
With a personality shaped by being an athlete and a background in mainstream sports media, I found that the stories I was most interested in telling were the ones often overlooked, the ones that might not otherwise be told, the ones that show the intangible and not just the highlight reel. The Sports Council is about highlighting the great, the good, the unique, and everything in between in the Pacific Northwest sports world. I'm Jamie Council. Thanks for joining me.
You're listening to the Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, the Tri-Cities leader in sports.
Welcome to the Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, your Tri-Cities leader in sports. Well, it's boys soccer season in the spring, and we're joined by Riley Dodson, head coach for Chiawana boys soccer. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you here, and it's a really tough season. In general, it seems like it's always those top three teams fighting, and this year is no different between Chiawana, Pasco. Last year, you guys were co-champions, and this year, Richland is undefeated so far.
Yeah, they've got a really good squad, and then throw Kennewick into the mix, and I think there's 4 teams with 10 wins, and it's been a few years since the league has been like that, so it's been enjoyable. Every game has been close and tight, and you could never take a day off at all.
Exactly. It's good that iron sharpens iron, but also it's a grind, those long games.
Yes, it is. And fortunately for us, we've had a really good squad, a deep squad. And we had several games where people were missing. We had multiple players that were in Spain, out of town. And we had guys just stepping in left and right. And that's been, I think, the big difference for us this year.
Chiawana is sitting 6-1 in MCC play. Pasco 6-1, their one loss coming against Chiawana, and right now Richland is the only undefeated team, 7-0, but they're playing Pasco, so you guys were co-champions last year, and it could be a 3-way tie this year.
Yeah, and at the beginning of the year, you want to get rid of that co-champion tag and have it for yourself, but now we're hoping to be co-champions and actually rooting for Pasco this Friday.
Right? I'm going to show that. You, head coach at Chiawana, saying go Pasco.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I'll say that, but we are rooting for them.
Fair enough. I'll take that. And what year is this for you?
This is the 7th year. Yeah, 7th year.
It's the 7th year as head coach. Yeah. And what is your background in soccer?
Just a player growing up. It was a really small community at the time when I was growing up. And as I had kids that started playing, the community was still a little bit smaller, so I got involved with coaching. And then I had a buddy, Chip Elfring, that was coaching at Southridge that asked me to be his assistant. And once you get into coaching high school soccer, it's super enjoyable. It's a lot different than club, and everybody is all for the school and the team. So, once you start in high school, it's hard to go back.
That's what I've heard, and I played high school and I played club, and it's really different because the atmosphere and the self-growth is there more so in the high school game versus club. It's more technical, so it's 2 completely different games, which is really weird to think about.
Yeah, and sometimes you have players that are excellent club players, really technical, and they have to adapt to the physical demands of high school soccer, where sometimes the technicality isn't as important as being able to get stuck into a tackle and that kind of thing. So
the MCC, like you mentioned, more teams at the top. And then even you take a look at teams that are below 500, Hanford being one of them. There's been 3 or 4, possibly even 5 that have been in PKs or 1-goal losses. So It's a pretty even playing field.
It is. And that's the thing. The teams that are kind of at the bottom of the table, they're not ones that you can sleep on by any means. They all have dangerous players and they're all hungry, and anybody in the table or in the league is capable of beating anybody in the table at any time.
And I love asking coaches this, any sport, but what is the culture like between the coaches in the MCC? Of course, everybody is competitive, but what does the soccer world look like?
It's actually, again, it's kind of smaller than you would think. The new Richland coach is a guy that I grew up playing with my whole life. And the Pasco coach is a guy, again, that, I went to St. Pat's when I was younger, so we've known each other our whole lives. So it makes it ultra competitive, but there's not really any animosity or anything from one coach to another in the soccer world.
Differs from sport to sport. And in the MCC, I don't think that there's a whole lot of bad blood between coaches. Sometimes there are between student bodies in a good way for the most part. But I just love kind of the small city, but also the big city and the competitiveness of the coaches.
And everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows what players they have. So, it is kind of a small world here, even though there's a lot of people in the Tri-Cities.
So for you, this is a special year or just a special time in your coaching career, even though it's your 8th year as head coach, but you have a son on the team.
Oh, yeah. No, that makes it a little bit more exciting than in previous years past. But not just my son. Basically, there's a group of seniors, juniors, and sophomores that I started coaching when they were 5, 6 years old until they were 11. And now there's 5 or 6 of them that are all on the team right now that grew up playing with my son. So it's not just about getting to coach your son, but seeing all those young guys that grew up together, playing together, now succeeding at the high school level. That's what you were hoping for when you were coaching them at a young age.
Chiawana supports multi-sport athletes, and it seems that you don't get that everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a cool thing that the athletic director, John Kazir, has up in the hallway, and it's photos of seniors that played 3 sports all 4 years in high school. And there's not as many people in that poster as Mr. Kazir would like. They really like multi-talented athletes and multi-sport athletes. Soccer is a different sport where these guys play 10 months out of the year, and our guys that play club soccer are playing club 10 months out of the year. Then they're 2 months off. They're playing high school soccer. Soccer makes it a little bit more difficult to be a multi-sport athlete, but that's the beauty of high school athletics in general, is that hasn't gone away yet.
And Chiawana supports that.
Absolutely, 100%.
So Scabon doesn't mind you saying, hey, my son is a soccer player, but you can use him on the football field.
Yeah. Just let him run the football a little bit.
There you go. We're going to learn a little bit more about the Riverhawks team. When we come back, we're going to hear from our sponsors. You're listening to the Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, your Tri-Cities leader in sports.
Craven Cheesecake? Krispy Kreme's Craven Cheesecake Donut Collection is here, April 22nd through May 4th. And don't forget our Anytime Dozen deal. You can snag a second dozen of our original glazed for just $9.99. Need funds? Our fundraising program is easy and profitable. And remember, military, police, and EMS always get 10% off at your local Krispy Kreme, 2805 Dupertail in Richland. Come in with a sweet tooth, leave with a smile.
Inconveniences can happen at, inconvenient times. JRT Mechanical has plumbers and HVAC technicians available 24/7 if an emergency does arise. Or if you feel like your house isn't cooling like it used to, or if you're tired of a hose leaking from last winter's freeze, JRT is an honest, reliable company that's been in the Pacific Northwest for more than 3 decades. Give JRT Mechanical a call at 509-314-4314 or visit jrtmechanical.com.
If you've got a winery, brewery, or dairy, why buy industrial parts and supplies from across the country? Central Industrial Sales is your local source for supplies and equipment for the dairy, food processing, winery, and brewing industries. We specialize in custom fabrication, industrial cleaning equipment, sanitary fittings, valves, pumps, chemicals, and many other supplies. Everything's available through our website, by phone, or by dropping by our office. Call 509-375-4032 or find us at centralindustrialsales.com.
You're listening to Jamie Council on the Sports Council.
We're back on the Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, your Tri-Cities leader in sports, catching up with Riley Dodson, head coach of Chiawana boys soccer, a tight race in the MCC that we talked about in segment 1. And for your team, you guys are co-champions last year. Tell me a little bit about the squad this year.
This year's team is a little bit different in a lot of good ways. The last few years, we've had either the league MVP or a guy that's a candidate for the league MVP, and they're scoring goals left and right. This year, we knew replacing the goals would be tough, but what we didn't know is how strong our defensive back line would be. And we knew we had good players, but the numbers that they've put up through these first 15 games are really good. I think we've only given up 5 goals. Our starting keeper has only given up 4. One of them was a penalty kick. He's blocked penalty kicks all year. So it's really been this year the defense that's got us at the top of the table instead of the offense, which has been the last few years.
And highlight a couple of the key players on defense for the Riverhawks.
Well, it's got to be Moises Niño. He's our goalkeeper. And we've got to play against some other teams in the state. I've been watching a lot of other top teams in the state playing, and Moises is definitely one of the best goalkeepers in the state. When we beat Richland in the non-league game, we were in, I think, the 8th or 9th round of a shootout, and he had already blocked 3 penalty kicks. And I kind of felt like Moy's going to win this game or we're going to lose it for him. So Moy, just step up and take the next pen. And he stepped up, and it was a sudden death penalty kick, and he made it. So it was awesome. Yeah, Moises has been the star, but the whole back line. We've had Axel Arellano, Gustavo Escalera, Benjamin Gonzalez, Alfredo Andrade, and Gio Mendoza have been our 5-6 guys playing back there. We've had other guys that have filled in when they've been injured and out, and they've done well. But those 5 guys in the back, along with the goalkeeper, Moises, have been the highlight of the season for sure. And
having such a defensive team that you don't have that goal scorer, it probably changes the way that you coach the game. What formation is your go-to?
We used to be a team that played like a 4-3-3, but we've kind of got used to playing with 2 forwards. So we got to do a lot of different things in the midfield to kind of help offset that. But since we started running this formation a couple years ago, I think it's been 36 or 37 games, and we've only lost 4 times, and 2 of them were 1-0 games decided by a penalty kick. So it's a lot of hard work for the players. They don't get to kind of sit back and relax. They have to be in the mix, going hard all the time. And that's where our depth has really helped us out this year, is to have those guys be able to go full speed all the time, put somebody else in that can do the exact same job.
Right. If you're going to have one opportunity, make sure it's a good opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We've crafted quite a few opportunities. And we've had some games where everything just flowed perfectly, and then other games where we had the opportunities, we just couldn't get it in the back of the net. And that's just how soccer goes sometimes.
It does. You have to have the soccer gods on your side, as my club coach said.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we do the sacrifices and make the prayers and everything, but sometimes they're just not on our side.
My soccer coach in club, we would stand on the sideline and actually throw coins over our head, and you'd see the other team or the referees picking up quarters, we're like, oh, that's bad luck.
Make a wish.
And so when it comes to the offensive side, that's something that you're looking for. Who's stepping up? Who's kind of stepped up where you guys rely on your defense, but you can't win games if you can't put the ball in the back of the net?
Yeah, I mean, right now, Morgan is our top goal scorer and our top assist guy, but it's really more guys creating goals for him and opportunities for him. And as of lately, Adrian Arengari has really stepped it up. He had in a 4-0 game, 2 goals, 2 assists. Had the match winner against Pasco with almost no time left in the game. And Adrian's a senior that has been giving us everything for 4 years. So we know he's a guy that, as the playoffs are coming and when we need to get a goal, he's a guy that'll get them for us.
And you talked a little bit about it earlier, that Richland, you guys have beat them, but not in MCC play. They're sitting undefeated. And that changed a couple years ago with the way league and non-league play is calculated to give you more non-league games, but a lot of those games are against MCC teams, so it's a bit tougher with less games that count towards being that MCC champion.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that we were really weary of is, are we going to peak at the right time? Are we going to come out at the beginning of the season on fire, and then when the games matter most, is that when you're going to peter off, or are we going to build up to the point where we're playing our best soccer by the playoffs? And we had a focus on that, and I think we're still looking to play our best soccer, but we definitely haven't peaked yet, so we got more to go.
It's tough because you're playing MCC teams and you want to establish your dominance, but if it means that you'll take an L working on your formation or putting somebody in a different position, it's kind of tough. Do you get kicked in the left knee or the right knee?
Yeah, and this year again has been different, where a lot of people thought those non-league games didn't matter, but if you make it to state, to RPI seeding day, those games are very, very important. And as much as you want to try new things or try other people, it's more about getting the result that helps you at the end of the season. You're kind of putting all your chips in one basket, because making state is really, really difficult out of our league in the GSL. But if you do, you don't want to have a 14, 15 seed and be going to the west side to play a top seeded team.
Exactly. Get kicked to the left knee or the right knee.
Exactly. Yeah.
And for you as a coach, what do you want your players to walk away, taking away from the program at Chiawana?
The most important thing is that everybody had a role to play. Everybody felt like they had a part in the success of the season. And that can get difficult when you have a full roster of 22 players. But most importantly is that we have success and that everybody feels like they had a part in it.
Well, best of luck this season. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.
Again, that's Riley Dodson, head coach of Chiawana boys soccer. When we come back, we'll be hearing from Gustavo Gonzalez, head coach of Hanford boys soccer. You're listening to the Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, your Tri-Cities leader in sports.
Inconveniences can happen at, well, inconvenient times. JRT Mechanical has plumbers and HVAC technicians available 24/7 if an emergency does arise. Or if you feel like your house isn't cooling like it used to, or if you're tired of a hose leaking from last winter's freeze, JRT is an honest, reliable company that's been in the Pacific Northwest for more than 3 decades. Give JRT Mechanical a call at 509-314-4314 or visit jrtmechanical.com.
If you've got a winery, brewery, or dairy, why buy industrial parts and supplies from across the country? Central Industrial Sales is your local source for supplies and equipment for the dairy, food processing, winery, and brewing industries. We specialize in custom fabrication, industrial cleaning equipment, sanitary fittings, valves, pumps, chemicals, and many other supplies. Everything's available through our website, by phone, or by dropping by our office. Call 509-375-4032 or find us at centralindustrialsales.com.
Craven Cheesecake? Krispy Kreme's Craven Cheesecake Donut Collection is here, April 22nd through May 4th. And don't forget our Anytime Dozen deal. You can snag a second dozen of our original glazed for just $9.99. Need funds? Our fundraising program is easy and profitable. And remember, military, police, and EMS always get 10% off at your local Krispy Kreme, 2805 Dupertail in Richland. Come in with a sweet tooth, leave with a smile.
Listening to the Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, the Tri-Cities leader in sports.
We're back on the Sports Council on 1340 ESPN, your Tri-Cities leader in sports, talking about MCC boys soccer, and joined by Gustavo Gonzalez, head coach at Hanford boys soccer. Welcome.
Yep, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So this is your third year with the boys.
Correct.
And you're also the girls head coach. You've been head coach for 2 years. So what's going on over at Hanford? You guys overall are 6-9 right now.
Sure.
And really trying to climb what is a really hard conference.
Sure. I would say what's going on is a lot of growth, a lot of opportunities for our athletes to come make a name for themselves, come make a name for the program. A lot of people coming and leaving their mark, and a lot of young people ready to carry the torch forward on both sides. So it's been super cool to see that happen the last couple seasons.
And what is your background in soccer?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, born and raised in the Tri-Cities, grew up with the ball at my feet, playing at the Y, through Rivers and through high school. Right after high school, though, I went straight into coaching through personal training. At some point, I got into Three Rivers Soccer Club, who I give a lot of thanks to, and just started falling in love with the coaching side of the game. Was coaching with Three Rivers for a couple seasons. I got the opportunity to come volunteer at Hanford High School around 2019 with Jack Close. And I fell in love with the program side of things, of building something up, players recycling in and out through 4 years. And when the opportunity opened up to be head coach, I stepped away from club and kind of put 2 feet into high school soccer, and I haven't looked back. Still have a lot of appreciation for her club, still go support a lot of my buddies that are coaching there. But I just really fell in love with the high school program side of things.
And what's been the toughest part? Because I creeped your Instagram,
Sure.
and you saw some success at the club level.
Sure.
And high school game is completely different.
100%.
So what's been the toughest part of the transition for you?
So I would say the toughest part is just acknowledging that it's 2 different games. Club is guys that are playing soccer year round. Guys that maybe take the sport a little bit more serious just because whether it's a financial situation or love of the game. And in high school, it's a little bit of, you get some athletes, maybe not so much true soccer players. And you do land a couple club guys, and that's what we try to kind of push for. So the game naturally turns into more of an athletic battle in high school, I would say. Where on the club side, it's a little bit more tactical because everybody's able to keep the ball a little bit more. And that's kind of where you go from there. I had a lot of fun doing club soccer. Now in high school is just finding the club guys I have, finding the guys that can hold the ball a little bit more and try to turn it into less of an athletic battle, which is what we're doing right now. And trying to find that balance between athletics and just technical abilities for the most part.
And Hanford last won the MCC in 2014.
Correct.
So it's been 11 years.
Yeah.
And you think of soccer in the Tri-Cities, you think Pasco, you think Chiawana, you think Richland.
Sure.
So what is it going to take to get to that level? Because it's 2 different things. Like you said, it's the battle of who is the most athletic,
Sure.
but then also getting people out to put the best for the program.
Sure. I just think it's being transparent with your players. I think from day one of taking over, just being transparent with them that if we want to keep up with those schools that you just mentioned that are awesome programs and awesome schools, we got to do our part and play year round. Sign kids up for surf, sign kids up for Three Rivers, sign kids up for personal training, whatever it is, and just enlightening them that if they want to keep up with those other schools, they have to do what they're doing, and that's the extra work. So the last 3 years, we've been signing guys up for club, signing girls up for club, and just being a moral support, not just the 3 months of the season, but realistically, it's like a 12-month program, it feels like, between the 2 programs, and it's just that. Getting them playing year round, getting them in the weight room, getting them just more opportunities to improve, and just being transparent with them. If they respect you enough, they know you're not coming at them personally. And we have a good group of boys and girls that could take some criticism on the chin and run with it. And they've done some really cool things the last few seasons. Not where we want to be just yet, but the improvement has definitely been cool to see.
Yeah, it's building blocks, as you would say, brick by brick.
Yeah.
What are the goals that you have for Hanford soccer?
I would say above anything, just it's 4 years that go by really fast. My number one is I just want the players to have the best possible experience, not just on the field, but off the field, whether it's at team bondings, whether it's at the bus rides, whether it's just cracking jokes with the coaches before or after practice. And that's my number one. On the field, yeah, at some point we want to compete and we want to be with those top schools at some point. But I have gotten a lot of guidance from athletic directors and a lot of my coaches, my coaching buddies, and it takes time to get there. And as long as we understand it's a process, it's a marathon, not a sprint, we'll get there at some point. But as long as we're heading in the right direction, the trajectory is going in the way we want it to go, I'm more than content when my players give all they can in each season.
Yeah, it takes tough, we talk about brick by brick, but really it's creating a culture
100%.
And setting that bar. So when you come into Hanford as a freshman, you know what is expected to be a part of the soccer program. So what culture are you trying to build?
Sure. So all these freshmen know at this point is like we hit the weight room from January all the way until tryouts. We even started going a little bit sooner with some of our leaders starting it in December. And where my seniors right now, when they were freshmen, they didn't start touching the ball. They didn't start getting together till maybe a day or two before tryouts. So it's going back to that. It's exposing these freshmen to a new culture that we work year round. We volunteer for our program year round. We hit the weight room year round. We do soccer, club soccer year round. And you teach these freshmen, and then they teach the 8th graders coming in. And that's what it's been these last few years. So my juniors this year are going to be seniors next year. And that'll be my first full cycle of 4 guys, 4 years coming through. So I'm excited to see what that 4th year will look like. But my seniors right now, my seniors last year, with the short time I've had them, they've done phenomenal things just when it comes to teaching the underclassmen. And it's just a cycle that's going to continue to go throughout the years. And
even on the girls' side, you had some players moving on and playing at the next level.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Our girls are awesome. They did a good job also buying in. Awesome group of girls that are the sweetest people, but when it comes to the field, they will fight and they will be gritty. And they've done a lot of cool things that I think definitely deserve some limelight, and a good group of young girls that came in this year. And I'm excited to see what they do because they got some awesome seniors coming in next year that are going to lead the way. And yeah, the girls are awesome, doing some pretty cool things.
And you mentioned it, the difference between club and high school is really the fun factor.
Sure.
A little bit where you're bonding with your team. It's all about
Sure.
the high school experience. And for club players,
Yeah.
I was a club soccer player.
Sure.
High school was my time off because you
100%.
couldn't play both sports. So I was a 2-sport athlete playing club soccer and another sport all year round, except for during soccer season. So you talked about how it's a little tougher to start this interview. We talked about the adjustment and what was tough, but what does it allow you to do being a high school coach now that you've bought into being a high school coach and contributing to that part of athletes?
Sure. I think going back to the club part, the level might be a little bit harder. It definitely is just on a skill level because, like how we said, everybody's more of a soccer player that's playing year round. The high school game kind of brings more of I know we can't turn the camera around, but at least on our field, it's just an awesome atmosphere that you just don't really get in club because you're playing club soccer. You're playing against some high-level people, obviously, but a lot of the times it's in front of parents, maybe a couple family members, and obviously those scouts that are going to be there. In high school soccer, you're playing in front of your peers. You're playing in front of your friends, your people that's in your 4th hour, 3rd hour, on top of admin and teachers. So it just brings that atmosphere that is a little bit different, and I feel that kids just tend to play a lot harder when they have a lot more of their peers in the stands. And I think that's also a big difference between the club side and school side of things.
And MCC is a tough conference to be a part of.
Sure, 100%. 100%. I think it's been really cool to see us competing with the GSL when it comes to the regional side. I think we have a lot of talent in the Tri-Cities, and that's in all 3 cities of Pasco, Richland, and Kennewick. And then obviously Hermiston and Waller are always going to do a great job. There's just a lot of soccer in the area. And I think it's been cool to see that the success is showing in the MCC.
And watch out for Hanford.
Sure, watch out for Hanford. I like my chances. Our boys are hungry. The mindset what these guys have is a lot different than what Hanford's may have been in the past, where they would come in with some butterflies or maybe some fear or some assumptions in who they're playing and what the result will be. But now it's been, no, they'll take whoever. Win or lose, I always know that they're going to give their very best. And when you have guys that are ready to ride like that, and girls, it's just awesome going on game day. It don't matter who you play at that point.
Well, Gustavo Gonzalez, head coach for Hanford boys and girls soccer.
Yep.
Best of luck the rest of the season, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, that wraps up this week's show of the Sports Council. Thank you for joining me on 1340 ESPN, your Tri-Cities leader in sports. A reminder, the Sports Council happens 4 times a month, 11:30 a.m. on Thursdays. You can listen to the show not just over the airwaves at 11:30 on Thursdays, but also on demand at 1340ESPNradio.com via podcast. Wherever you get your podcasts, just search for the Sports Council, and it's also available via YouTube. So lots of ways to listen to the Sports Council and support our local sports community. Until next time, I'm Jamie Council. Now we go back to your originally scheduled Seattle sports programming.